must have been a beautiful baby. You must have been a beautiful child when you were only starting.
Well, hello again. This is Dr. Robert Hurst, author of Life's Fingerprint, How Birth Order Affects Your Path Throughout Life, the only book that covers double birth orders. In our last video, we talked about how to find your real birth order, and especially if you had a double birth order. We found out in that video which type of double birth order you had. There are two types. But now we're going to talk about the other factors that will change your birth order. There are 6 other variables that will change your birth order if they apply to you. They may allow you to move up in birth order number or maybe down in birth order number. The next factor is to find out who you lived with when you were growing up, from birth to age 16. Were there other siblings in the family that you lived with that were not your own siblings? That affects your birth order. How long you lived with these other families will affect your birth order. Did you live with a grandparent with no other siblings present? That would give you more of an only type of birth order. Now, the next factor relating to this one we just talked about was how long you lived with this alternate family. If you only lived there for a few months, it doesn't apply to your birth order at all. If you live there more than 3 or 4 years, that's going to affect your real birth order. So take that into consideration as well. The next factor is a disability of one of your siblings. Were they handicapped at birth, or did this come after birth? Were they mentally handicapped or physically handicapped? All this is a consideration into your real birth order. If they were handicapped and they were older than you, you may move up 1 number in birth order. If these handicaps were at lower birth order than yourself, they'll have no effect on your birth order, unless, of course, many of the family resources went into their care. Then you get demoted. The next factor is the death of a sibling. Did the sibling die before you were born or after you were born? And were they kept alive after you were born? We call this a phantom child. If the parents decide that that child is going to stay alive in their mind and continue to have birthdays with the family, this is a very difficult birth order to overcome, because this child is thought to be perfect. After all, they've never grew up. Example of this was Vincent van Gogh. He was born almost to the day 1 year after his older brother died after 1 week of birth. His mother could never get over the death of his older sibling. Now, Vincent did have problems throughout his life. We know the story about the loss of his ear and his eventual suicide. The next factor is an adopted sibling. You may be adopted into a family, or the family may adopt a child, but all these children are living together and they're one family. So just look at the age of adoption, when they came into the family, and how long they were there, and calculate your birth order from that information. But because they were adopted, they're still one of your sibling group, and you listed them in your first listing. Now, our last consideration is multiple births. All you triplets and twins were probably waiting for this, and you were always thinking, who am I? Which one am I? Well, birth order is more psychological than it is physical. If you were told that you were the oldest of the triplets, then you would be number 1, and 2 and 3 would follow. So multiple births fall right in line with all the other siblings in the family, and you take on the birth order of the number that you were told in your actual birth. Remember, like your fingerprint, birth order is who you really are.